Your Excellencies, Vice Provost, ladies and gentlemen, fellows and students of the college, welcome to a very special session of the Tembusu Forum. I'm Greg Clancy, Master of Tembusu College at NUS. The Forum is an occasional series run by the college for the benefit of its students and the larger community, in which we bring together policymakers, diplomats, and intellectuals to discuss important issues of the day. This is a special session because it is also for the first time a memorial. And given the theme, we've also for the first time opened our doors, not just to our university population, but to all interested members of the public. And I'm very gratified that so many of you have taken the time to come. The Forum was founded and is both organized and chaired by our beloved Rector, Professor and Ambassador Tommy Ko. And it's with the greatest pleasure that I invite Professor Ko to the podium to officially open this event.
Thank you very much, Greg. Professor Clancy and his colleagues in the college are very kind to me. They give me a surfeit of praise because they are not paying me for my job. Your Excellencies and members of the diplomatic corps, members of Tembusu College and of the NUS community, members of the Jewish community of Singapore, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this special session of the Tembusu Forum. On the 21st of November 2005, the United Nations General Assembly adopted a resolution entitled Holocaust Remembrance, reaffirming that the Holocaust, which resulted in the murder of 1/3 of the Jewish people, along with countless members of other minorities, will forever be a warning to all people of the dangers of hatred, bigotry, racism, and prejudice. The UN resolution designates the 27th of January as the annual International Day of Commemoration in memory of the victims of the Holocaust. The date 27 January was chosen because it was on the 27th of January 1945 that the notorious death camp Auschwitz-Birkenau was liberated. The UN resolution also urges member states to develop programs that will inculcate future generations with the lessons of the Holocaust in order to prevent future acts of genocide. This special session of the Tembusu Forum has therefore been convened in response to the UN General Assembly resolution. But I have another reason for convening the forum. And the reason is that many Singaporeans appear to be ignorant of the Holocaust. A few years ago, I was shocked when a teacher in one of our junior colleges named one of his study groups after Adolf Hitler. And last year, a young Singaporean who owns a bar on Circular Road wanted to name the bar Auschwitz. And when confronted by the media, he said he was not aware that Auschwitz was the name of the notorious death camp. I will assume that the teacher and the bar owner were ignorant and not malicious. I will therefore set out a few facts about the Holocaust, which every Singaporean should know. The Jews are an ancient people whose roots can be traced back to the Holy Land of Palestine. Driven from their ancestral home by a succession of invaders, the Jews have dispersed to all corners of the earth, including this tiny island. Although the Jewish community of Singapore is small, it has made many distinguished contributions to our country. These include, for example, our first elected Chief Minister, David Marshall, two well-known philanthropists, Manasseh Meyer and Jacob Ballas, a very distinguished physician and professor of surgery, Yahya Cohen, three very distinguished lawyers, Joseph Greenberg, Harry Elias, and Jeffrey Pinsler. I don't know whether Professor Pinsler is here, but his late father was a Holocaust survivor. And two eminent entrepreneurs, Frank and Nash Benjamin. The Jewish migration to Europe began in the first millennium. Anti-Semitism, or the hatred of the Jew, is a disease with particularly deep roots in Europe. I recall that in the year 1215, the Jews in England were required to wear a distinguishing badge, a practice that Hitler copied 719 years later. In the year 1290, the Jews were expelled from England. And in 1492, they were expelled from Spain. The decision by Adolf Hitler to try to exterminate the 11 million Jews of Europe was therefore not a bolt out of the blue. It was the culmination of centuries of discrimination, persecution, pogroms, expulsions, and murders which had been inflicted on the Jewish people of Europe. Adolf Hitler was appointed Chancellor of Germany on the 30th of January 1933. 2 months later, only 2 months later, he established the first detention camp at Dachau. Hitler's two consuming ambitions were to conquer Europe and to exterminate the Jews. In quick succession, he conquered Austria, Czechoslovakia, Poland, Denmark, Norway, Holland, Belgium, France, Yugoslavia, Greece, and the Ukraine. All the occupied countries, excepting one, complied with the Nazi demand to enact anti-Jewish legislation. The one exception is Denmark, which was the only occupied country that refused to comply. Denmark therefore deserves our respect and admiration. At a conference on the 20th of January 1943, the Nazi regime decided to exterminate the 11 million Jews of Europe. Factories were built at the different death camps, using poison gas to kill the prisoners. Altogether, 6 million Jews, men, women, and 1 million children were put to death. It is one of the worst genocides in our blood-soaked history.